All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Parasyte the Maxim, Episode 9. All right. So we have Shideo.
Or Hideo. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
He's Hideos.
He's Shideo.
Yeah. And he's also quite shady.
Yes, indeed.
But the thing is that he is doing fairly well at remaining hidden and... No.
Except for the fact where he grabbed that that one girl's arm,
right?
Kana, and basically was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk to you. I'm gonna talk to you.
Yeah, we're going
drag
this
you
way.
out of this
way.
And
the whole thing of
and
just
then when
like
he backhands,
school, and then talks
guy.
about the two of you and things like that.
This guy's a problem.
This guy's a problem, but it's weird because for all of the clever things that he does, he's also an idiot.
Well, it
clueless.
seems that he has no interest in trying to hide his identity as a parasite person.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with that? What is his true motivation? Why is he working with Tamiya? Questions that we have, they need to be answered. There are some developments, though, with regards to the relationship, though, between Murano and Shinichi, though, because Shinichi has a little bit of socio in his path at the moment.
Just a little bit.
Lack of empathy.
Kana does not seem to mind, but she also has the whole sense thing, and it is confirmed, from what we've seen so far, there is a parasite sense, which is interesting. And then also Tachikawa doesn't have the hots for Shinichi anymore, so maybe this isn't the gonna go full harem situation, and she does seem to have taken a liking to Hideos. She'll probably be the next target.
Joy to the world. So let's learn some motivations in this next episode, hopefully.
Yes.
So y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into what this is, we're going to talk about why this is something we are actually a little bit.
And first, let's go over the things that this episode did really well.
Yes. The things that this episode did really well is it showcased, I would say, how Shinichi has to deal with the awareness that he is changing or has changed, and how he interacts with Murano, how he interacts with. Shideo, I'm just going to keep calling him that. I love that nickname.
And the development that we're getting from Migi, where Migi is becoming a bit more like Shinichi and is able to basically, give feedback on these sorts of things because on the one hand, I could be kind of like, okay, this doesn't make sense that Shinichi would be this clueless, but because it's a change, he's not used to it, right?
Right.
But then maybe once, people like Migi, for instance, tell him about this stuff, then he'll be like, okay, I need to basically put filters up to basically be like, this is something that is my natural state now. So now I need to just, change how I interact with people.
Yeah, and roll with it, basically.
Right.
It's not easy for him, though, because he's
never had to do it before.
Well, yes, but when you're changed at this fundamental level, you can't just in the same way that he couldn't just change this way before without the invasion of all these little Migis basically running through his system and stuff. He can't just change back, because he would need an invasion of little Shinichis essentially, to go through his system.
No, don't talk about an invasion of little Shinichis.
But the point is that it's not as simple as just kind of speaking differently. Yeah, it's a whole
other way of thinking. Yeah.
Yep.
And again, from an established set system, it's hard to make changes to that system or be aware of that system. So the whole thing with the dad talk to the agents that does a lot of
some really cool
great things because from the standpoint of the world, right, they're going into the bigger scale stuff where the government is getting involved and there's that whole conflict there. And then also,
in fact, it seems like they have been involved for a while because they have other instances of this.
Right, but now it's something that is okay. Now it's coming to Shinichi's door. Right, literally. And that also is a way for the dad to hopefully be able to process things a bit better. Yep. And then he also could theoretically, because he's been filled in on this, he could end up basically getting a little bit suspicious of Shinichi as well.
Yeah. Because this hit so close to home He's like, why me? Why me? And he might turn to being a little bit,
like, how could you not get a little bit paranoid? After something like that. The whole thing that the way that they kept the dad from panicking by saying, hey, by sort of saying this is a threat, but also downplaying it by being like, but there's so few of these, like this is a very like once in a million kind of occurrence. Oh boy.
The other thing that I would say is quite cool with the way this episode was handled was there was a lot of double kind of entendre kind of conversations going on, where you would have one layer of it being between the parasites, and then the other ones being between like them as humans with regards to the bullies and establishing like that part where he identifies which among them is the alpha, which is such an animalistic thing to do.
Totally makes sense.
In some ways, we as human beings subconsciously kind of do this just on a slight level.
Like the whole popularity contests at school and things like that.
It needs to be very unsubtle for us. It needs to be very obvious, basically. Otherwise, we don't really notice it.
And it's in a situation where they're just all standing there and he's not at the front or anything like that. And in fact, Shinichi knew that, Mitsuo was probably the one that put them up to this. Determining that, no, it's not actually Mitsuo. That was good.
Yeah, the guy did look older considerably than everyone else there, and a little bit bigger. There's a lot of traits about him that made sense. But the idea that he instantly knew, that's that part that was pretty cool. Also, I liked the thing that, Shidio is basically a terrifying antagonist, and he is erratic and just annoying in that he's here and we have to deal with him and we're probably going to have to kill him. He has a very methodical way of basically systematically analyzing Shinichi. And the idea that he was basically like, okay, this low signal thing doesn't make sense. It's weird, so I'm going to do some tests. So the idea of sending out a wave of aggression, and even after he does it, because he doesn't react, he's just like, that guy's just really dense. Like maybe.
But then there's the things like, he jumped a 3-meter wall.
And he like shows this reaction of, holy crap, I can't do that. What did he do? Like, that there's something I don't know about him. So the idea that he doesn't want to engage here, like he has no ego with regards to his survival pecking order kind of thing being called into question.
Although he still does have the thing of like with Mitsuo, for instance, and this could just be reinforcing that he's a bad guy. But the whole thing of like that, I'm going to end you if you come against me again, kind of a thing.
Well, I think that's because he wants to be left alone. He's not trying to make friends. He's not trying to build connections here. So he's actually trying to be an antisocial, magnet, basically, where he basically just sends out waves of, don't interact with me because I'm just here to spy on Shinichi.
He sent out a threat that he really hoped would be listened to.
And it wasn't.
In
fact, it had the opposite effect.
Which,
which shows how immature he is with regards to humans.
And that's one of those things that on the one hand, sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure if I like that since parasites are so smart and able to learn. But then at the same time, parasites are young. And because they don't have that emotional like part of them, and they're so young, it's the combination of those two. Because even if you think about like a sociopath or something like that, right? Over time, just from living, they would figure out how to basically integrate into society more or less, right? Whereas in this case, because they don't have that factor, and emotional education is not something that you'd really read about in books. Like maybe you'd get it from like shows or things like that,
but they
like
wouldn't find it valuable. That's the thing. No, from their perspective, from their perspective, they're looking at this from a survival system. So they want to not be found, not be suspected, not be noticed, not be all these things. In that suspected one, there's the subcategory of subcategories, which is move, think, and act like a human. But in some ways, the best way to blend in with humans is to make no noise, to make no kind of thing there. And the thing is, he's bad at that. We've seen him multiple times do things that it's like, dude, you're not blending in. And that's why
you should know you're not blending in.
And I think that's why Shinichi yells out, you idiot, is basically he's been dealing with this guy being so bad at blending in. And in some ways that's cold.
Well, because he's not thinking about the fact that this guy is
about to kill.
Now, granted, granted, he is going under the assumption that when he said, "Oh yeah, I don't hurt people," that he was believing it, and then but the fact that he's siding with him, even though he's gotten into multiple instances now where he is, going to hurt people, that Shinichi is aware of.
Yeah.
Hopefully that changes, but it does go to show how Shinichi has changed his mindset. He doesn't really consider himself to be a human anymore.
Yeah.
He kind of considers himself to also be a parasite because, given the default, right, he basically told, Shidio, I like that, Shidio.
Isn't it good?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. To basically leave, and then he would handle Mitsuo and his crew, right? And of course, he handles that in a much better way, a much more non-violent way.
Right.
But it was still something where it wasn't, you guys go, I'll handle this guy. Right. Which maybe would have, I guess, okay, it could have been. Well, no. Migi was awake at that time, so maybe it's just that he doesn't want to cause trouble either by having a fight with another parasite.
Yeah. In the same way is that Shidio is caring about his survival. Shinichi very much cares about his survival as well, and in some ways that's where a lot of his thinking has switched towards. Right. Yeah.
Even with things like, say, now that it's been confirmed with his dad, right?
Yeah.
Now, granted, Migi doesn't want anyone else to know, so there's that. But he hasn't tried to convince Migi, hey, this could be
we could work with them.
We could work with them, and at the very least, my dad is suspicious.
Well, not yet.
Well, not suspicious in that sense, but he's noticed the change. This might be something where we want to basically
get out in front of that.
That
would be a logical thing to do, but I think it's a die roll. And I think in terms of the survival thing, if you don't care about your dad, if your dad is just another meat sack, you don't have any value really in staying with them or letting them live if they become a threat.
And in the case of Migi, because while it would be a problem if Migi did kill his dad, because then suddenly Shinichi is against Migi, right? The way that Shinichi has been changing means that potentially if his dad died, he wouldn't be as against Migi as he once was. As he once would have been.
Yeah. So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Here, when we preface this out there, that the reason why we don't like this is because Parasyte as a show has done some very smart things recently, especially in the last 5 episodes or so. They have started to elevate the show a lot. And done some really smart, clever things by bringing up certain conversations, certain themes, certain dialogues surrounding what makes humans human. And this is one of the most tired, retreaded, annoying story tropes regarding the lack of communication. But here's the thing. Because of the fast pace of Parasyte, which I would say in some ways is a good thing, this actually is where it worked in the negative. Because they gave all the info, the brother in this case, the info surrounding these things are out there, these things, we don't know if they're alien, mutants, or some bioweapon, but they eat people.
Right. They eat people. You don't confront someone that you think might be something that eats people alone without telling anybody else. That's not something you do. And the thing is, it's not that. It's not that just that this. Oh, well, continue.
I had one other thing. Okay. The thing that they're trying to do here is that because this is where the fast pacing comes in. Because last episode at the very end they told us that she likes this guy. She finds him kawaii, cute, and stuff. That we are supposed to go. That is the reasoning, the emotional compromise that makes her not think in this instance here.
Right.
And I think that that's generally a good thing.
Yes.
But I don't think, because of how fast-paced this is, they properly set that up to where
because it's just been a couple blushes.
It's been a couple blushes.
And now she's going to put her life on the line for this person that she's never even really spoke to. Yeah. When she specifically is seen on multiple occasions that, yes, he is definitely not human. So... And
now,
the thing is...
Now, the thing is humans are irrational beings and they make stupid decisions and stuff.
But the thing is that she was being so smart up till this point. And this is the other thing. If I feel like... And maybe this is just me, writing my own better fan fiction in my head or something like that, right? But if they had done something where we know that this guy is investigating these things, right? Yep. We know that he's investigating these things, but he does the thing like you were saying of it's classified. I can't tell you much, but she sees like the pictures and stuff like that,
and
right?
Makes her curious, and so her curiosity gets the better of herself.
But then you could have this wonderful poetic, like not miscommunication, but lack of communication on his end, or on both their ends, right?
Yep.
Because he can't tell her, right? Because of that, she doesn't have the flag in her head of, this is a very serious deal, right? Beyond just, there's this weird drawing, what's up with this? And then if she likes him, then it's a bit more explainable. And then the audience can basically have that, no, why don't you talk things out? That's something that is completely on their end of wanting it to go better for her, rather than wondering, what you've been so smart up till now, why aren't you doing the obvious thing?
Yep.
And again, if the pacing was slower and we got to see her more like, fall form and things like that, and then really not want to believe it, sure. But
this might be actually a manga to anime adaptation thing.
Sure.
I could see that very well being a thing where it's just like, we decided to just run through it because we have to do a 2-cour show here, and this is a part where we don't want to slowly go through it because there's more important things to get to.
She's a very much side character and all that. And
if she dies, it's not really going to be that big of a loss in terms of the cast because she has contributed very little.
Right. It's just that break in consistency of this character that's been being smart, even if she was being a bit like gutsy.
She was being gutsy.
With following him and things like that.
Yeah, once he did the face change, that's when you stop everything. Because for me, like, I've had like where crushes makes my brain be not thinking, and I'm using that basically. It's just the brain went down there, and I was basically not thinking here. But there are moments where people give red flags on like the personality level, and it just kills the boner brain. Basically, you're just like, boo! You're just like done.
Right.
I'm sure that ladies are different, and there's all kinds of situations there where it's not exactly the same. But if you were to see someone literally in front of you go skin change, hair color change, facial structure change in real time,
because the baseball thing, like, okay,
I would think that
was a
either
very
I was
dramatic,
crazy, or that person is bad news.
But the fact that it was the second time, and the thing with the baseball, I could see, because she was kind of far away.
It'd be like a blink and you miss it.
I could see it being something where she's like, where she doesn't quite like, no, I must have seen something wrong. Right?
Exactly. So that's why she follows him.
Exactly. But she was already suspicious of him before she saw those things.
Yep.
She was already wondering, wait, his face looks too
perfect.
His face is too
perfect, right.
And, okay. And then she asks him about that, and then she knows that they eat people. Like, and that they can change their faces and do all this stuff. And
So, I'm not giving the show a pass on this.
No.
I feel like this is either an adaptation issue or it's just a very slight oversight for the intelligence of the show overall and the way the progression of the events were handled.
The other thing I'll say is...
But if Shinichi saves her, they can retroactively fix a lot of this.
Because the fact that she saw, like, the baseball thing, that was a little bit of a plot convenience that's totally plausible because she started to like him, so she starts paying more attention to him. But the other thing I will say is that these mincemeat murders have been going around the news for a very long time.
No, they stopped going into the news.
Well, okay, sure, but there was a point when
that was a while ago, though.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fair point. But the idea that these mincemeat murders are a thing now, I guess her brother didn't say this is what we believe were the mincemeat murders or whatever.
There was no connection drawn there.
But she was able to make the connection between the morphed thing and him before she saw him change his face, just from the baseball bump. So that. But this is another thing that I will say that could have been a contribution to this happening in addition to the pacing.
Okay.
Manga coming out weekly. Now, I don't know if this one came out weekly or monthly, but I'm guessing it was probably weekly. And I can't imagine coming up with a story on a weekly basis when you're coming up with the story, but then you're drawing it, which takes most of the time. And then on top of that, you're dealing with all these different characters and situations and things that you're wanting to push forward. So that's one of the other things where I could
just see them using a simple plot device here for the purpose of moving the story along.
Yep.
And that they aren't ready to go into these things are revealed kind of section of the story.
Sure.
Because that's going to be a thing where the government are like, we're aware.
Yep.
We know who's who, and we're doing stuff. And maybe they partner up with Shinichi. But the thing is that I think that they still want school antics. So
yeah, and and they could also
want
to explore the dynamic between Shinichi and Shiryu being different than his other relationships with other parasites because of how he has changed as a person.
Possibly.
So that basically this whole thing of now him needing to actually save someone a second time, it's like, yeah, no, he was lying. He definitely eats people probably, or at the very least, he's a danger. He needs to be taken out, right?
Yeah.
Which is something that would be cool to see happen, and the way they deal with that and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how, in a lot of ways, I don't know how Shiryu can actually spin this in a way that helps him survive. Because, in a way, he's backed into a corner here. I'm trying to think about it from his perspective. He revealed himself, so he's going to kill her. That's what he's going to try to do. So he's do or dying on this here. But he knows that Shinichi will notice that he does this.
Right. And
so will he do the thing of where he quickly kills her and then, like, runs? Like, he's like, I screwed up. I failed my mission. I'm out.
And hope that he kills her without her screaming so that the whole school isn't alerted.
He could totally do that.
Yeah.
But my thing is that will he do this as a thing of where he tries to let the mystery linger on and then people will wonder who did it? Or is he going to then run out into public areas and be like, yeah, you won't come after me, Shinichi, because I'm here in a public area.
Sure.
And now I'm fine, but this place is going to get investigated and stuff, and you better not do anything suspicious to make, people
think it's you.
Then cops or the government comes here and goes, oh crap, there's one here. That's something I do find interesting.
Yeah,
but I still feel like what's her name, Tachikawa, is basically, if she dies this way, is basically just thrown up on the altar of, hey, we made this character to kill her.
Right.
That's basically what we did.
And to potentially instigate, I would consider it melodrama if this was something that brought the government on Shinichi's back because it was not because of anything that Shinichi did.
Sure.
It was because of a plot convenience that didn't make sense for one other side character.
Yeah. But let's end this whole side of the things here, because the episode overall was still really good at moving the whole character development of Shinichi along, which is some of the best stuff we're getting thus far. Like the idea that Shinichi is actually dealing with this. It's episode 9, and like he's almost too far gone at this point. He still cares about human beings being killed near him and stuff, maybe on some level,
right?
Because he had no choice. That whole line has some weight to it. The idea of no choice. Well, wait. What do you mean? Do you mean no choice because you have to save human beings because that would violate your humanity if you let them die? Or is it a thing of, well, my survival somewhat dictates that there would be no obvious human murders by, parasite beings in my area, so I don't bring a quarantine, government search down in here or what have you. Because there's layers because it's not that simple.
Because I would understand if for instance he knew that Tachikawa was suspicious and then he realizes that she confronted him and he's like, you idiot, to Tachikawa, right? Like, why would you do that? But he didn't know anything about that, so he's definitely talking about Shiryu.
We know he's talking about Shiryu, and he can't sense who the humans are. But that's a good thing to bring up, though. He doesn't know that that's Tachikawa in the room.
It could be anybody.
He just knows it's a human.
You're right. Shiryu is going to kill.
Yes.
And the last thing I will say on the whole Tachikawa thing is that I feel like the reason that it felt like it stood out so much was because of the rest of the dialogue and the world building and all the character things that they were doing there was so it made my brain just go, oh, the possibilities, all the things that they can do here, right? So it was just this one thing where I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, we're disappointed.
But the rest of the episode was absolutely fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the intense next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general. You can get involved with the community events that are happening there. And you can also talk with Jake about his book.
Yes, my sci-fi novel, Battle Lines, is still available for order on Amazon. The link is in the description below. So go check it out.
Yeah, so if anything that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.